everyone. Welcome back. We're with the fourth episode of Lights, Camera, and Action. As always, I'm your host, Chris, with our co-host, Miranda. Say hi to everyone.
Hey everyone, check out my Christmas shirt.
We had talked about, and I'm sorry I'm not wearing a Christmas sweater. We had talked about it, and I completely forgot, like the forgetful person I am. So kudos to Miranda for following through. Shame on me for not. We've got a really exciting episode coming today. We're going to talk about body confidence, showing up confident on set, how that impacts your work, how maybe it impacts your collaboration with photographers and businesses. And Miranda, as always, is going to be able to provide a unique insight on body confidence from a female perspective. She's going to have a lot of great topics. She even wrote in a blog post that we'll publish later after this to accompany this. And then, as always, I'll throw in a little bit of tidbits here and here about, from the business and photographer side of things. So before we dive in, I want to take a quick second to talk about the website. If you go to our website, you will see some of the projects that we've worked on in the past, such as Breaking Borders. And then you may even see here soon some previews for an upcoming project, Mods and Models. If you have not checked out Breaking Borders, you're going to make me cry if you say you have not done that, because honestly, it was a really big project that we worked on. It was all about representing West Virginia, its people and its places beautifully. It's a publication. It's for sale. You can go out there right now and buy it and show support to local talent and, show support for West Virginia and the greater Appalachian area. We are going to do another series on this. So if you're a model out there and you're looking to dive into a really cool project, maybe it's your first project, maybe you've done lots of projects, but you haven't done anything really creative in a while, make sure you go to SES Modeling Co., register as a model, and talk to us about opportunities to be in some of our publications. So with that out of the way, I want to go ahead and hand this over to Miranda, as always, to kind of lead us out on this conversation about body positivity, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so this is something I'm personally super passionate about. Body positivity, just the way we talk about bodies in society, particularly women. There's so much pressure out there, I think, especially in the age of social media, where you see people's photos all the time, and maybe those photos aren't really representing real life always. It used to just be magazines and TV, but now it's right on your phone. You might see things where people look picture perfect, and you might think, well, I don't look like that. Well, the good news is no one actually looks like that, right? Like, we all have different bodies, and all bodies should be celebrated. So I think the root of body confidence for me is understanding that there's no one size fits all. We do all have different bodies. We all have, what some people call imperfections, but I don't like that word because perfect doesn't exist. So there's no imperfection. So in general, just knowing that we all have different bodies, it's about embracing and showing up confidently in our bodies. And the reason as a model you want to do that, as a human being, you want to do that because you want to feel good about yourself. But as a model, when you show up confidently, when you really genuinely feel confident on the inside, that's going to show through on the outside. It's something that is so subtle, but can't be replicated. You can't show up on set and feel, kind of bad about yourself or self-conscious, recovering things up, and then that turn out just well in a photograph, but when you feel confident and you're really like working it and trying poses and just being, your best self, that's going to show through. I think I said in the blog post, you glow differently when you actually feel confident about yourself. And that's true. Like it's this glow from the inside out that it's hard to, like I said, it's so subtle. It's hard to even describe or explain. But when you're on set and you're trying new poses and you're really working it and feeling yourself, or you're smiling, really have that inner power coming out, you can see that. And when it's not there, you can also see that. And Chris had a good point about this is something too, like you can't Photoshop in confidence. It's a subtle thing that has to come from the inside and be self-generated.
Yeah, that quote, "You glow differently when you show up confident," is so true. And I say it all the time when I'm on set with people. Being confident in who you are is going to it really can make or break a shoot. You could do a lot of powerful and amazing and beautiful things with Photoshop. You could take out blemishes, and if you had a little breakout that's not, part of your normal appearance and you want to hide it, you can do all those things with Photoshop. But the thing that you cannot fake in Photoshop is confidence. And if somebody is very shy, it's going to come through. If somebody is overly confident, even, that comes through. So being confident in a photo shoot is it's necessary not just for you as the model, but it's also necessary for your collaboration and work with others. Being confident is so powerful for you, but it's also like a powerful tool that you can use. And as a photographer, if you're working with somebody who's very shy and not confident, it can be difficult to collaborate in being able to help get poses correctly, or smiling. Even like if you're not confident in your smile and you smile and you're not confident about it, they're going to know. Like, people are going to know about that. So building confidence isn't something that is necessarily easy, right? But it is something that is very important as far as like the pure appearance of your photo and working with photographers. But I think it does dive much deeper than that, in the sense that, like, it's healthier just to be more confident in yourself. And it doesn't matter your body type, because confidence, it comes out powerful and it comes out beautiful, no matter your body type. And we see this all the time even in mainstream, where we have somebody who's maybe not society's norm beautiful, or maybe they have like a birth defect, or maybe they have like blemishes, or they have, whatever numerous, things that it could be, but they become really well known because they are confident and they're like, I'm beautiful no matter what. And so I think that's just an attitude that we can learn to adapt, but it's also an attitude that we can learn to help other people adapt as well, I think.
Yeah, definitely. A point to what you just said, and then a kind of a point on just building confidence and tips to build confidence. So first, I like what you said about a photographer can't necessarily bring that out in someone. They have to bring that with them on the set. And this is actually kind of cool. I get to give an acting tip, where acting and modeling sometimes cross over, because modeling is a lot like acting. Acting is sort of like, acting in sustained moments. Modeling is like, portraying a singular moment in a photograph. So they have a lot of overlap. And something that a lot of directors have told me in acting is it's a lot easier for me to reel you in than try to pull it out of you. So if I go onto the scene and I'm a little over the top, they'd actually rather me do things a little over the top, because they can say adjust it down a little bit. Like, so if you're really working it, they might say, okay, be a little more natural, reel it in. But if you're stiff and like you're not smiling, or like you force a smile, like, like, because you don't feel confident, it's going to be really hard to pull that out of you. Like, if you don't have that internal confidence, no one can build that for you. So it's always best to like just show up, be your best self, give it your all, and then reel it in when needed, instead of holding back and, kind of living in this prison that we create for ourselves and our minds around our bodies. And so, to move to the next point on that, tips to build confidence. One thing I found that really helps me is reinforcing that narrative around what I was saying earlier. There's so many beautiful people in the world and on our own social media feeds, but you have to understand those are like very specifically curated moments that people are choosing to share. So social media is a highlight reel. Even when people get really real and choose to share something about their cellulite or about like their, tummy rolls, whatever, which is awesome. And that's really helpful and powerful, because we need to see more normal body images. But even when people show those things, everything on social media is curated. So if somebody looks like flawless 24/7, like, just know that that's not real, and that's okay, because that's not what you're supposed to look like 24/7. Your body's going to change and shift through your life, just through your day. Like, I can eat one piece of food sometimes and all of a sudden be like really full and like stuffy, like looking and feeling, and like, but it's okay, because that's normal. And as models, our bodies are our greatest instruments, and knowing just how to work with our bodies and how to love and appreciate them in every moment is so important, because you'll never feel confident until you've learned to say, like, I love my body, I honor my body. It changes through the day. Maybe it changes, in some months or some years. Maybe I'll, weigh more or weigh less. And no matter what, though, this body is beautiful. Look at all it's done for me. And when I feel that this body is beautiful inside, it's going to show that to other people externally. So it kind of just keeps compounding on that. When you feel it here, everyone else can see it. But yeah, like there's some definite, I think, connection between, you can't bring that out of somebody. They have to bring that to the table themselves.
And those are all really good points. And something you touched on, as far as talking about tips, is you talked about like your insecurities. I think a really powerful tip is actually knowing your insecurities, right? And when we say like body confidence, that doesn't mean that you can't be insecure about something, because we all have insecurities. But I think that knowing about your insecurities, like say you have a specific mark on the right side of your face from an injury you got when you were 12. Knowing that that's there and knowing what that looks like can also help you build confidence, in the sense of, one, you know how to maybe pose to help, make it look less dramatic, right? Also knowing that certain lighting could impact that based on shadows. But also like knowing that it's there and being able to recognize that other people are going to see that is going to help you with your own confidence, in the sense that you're aware of it and you know how to work around it if it's something that you really struggle with. So I think that knowing your insecurities is a really powerful tip. And it is okay to have insecurities. It's okay. Like I'm insecure. I have insecure things. Every time we get ready to record this, I'm like, oh, somebody's going to see this feature that I really don't like about myself. But at the end of the day, we got to show up and we got to smile and we got to be happy and just say, you know what, I'm going to be the best me that I can be, because that's all we can do. And I think knowing that and knowing your insecurities will also like help you kind of evolve and become more confident. And I think that working with other photographers and working with other people and doing poses and things will help you build your confidence. I think so. One tip that I would have is like photograph those insecurities. I have a really cool story that I like to share with people. And I worked with a model, and we did this photo shoot, and she was recently had kids. And so she had some insecurities about her own body. And I was like, I'm telling you that those insecurities you have, like, they aren't there. Like whatever you're seeing in yourself, like other people aren't seeing. And so I was able to take some photos in some ways that maybe she was insecure. And I told her, I was like, you're doing awesome. Like, don't even think about the insecurities. Pose as you normally would, as if you didn't have those. And she did that, showed her the photo, and she couldn't even point out the insecurity that she had on the photo. So I think that like building the confidence to also just explore will help you build your self-confidence, because, maybe you will also realize that thing you were insecure about really isn't as bad as you thought.
Yes. Add to that really quick, too. There is a very famous model, a world famous model who had a TV show about modeling and everything, who believes more than anything that your insecure feature is actually what makes you unique. And that's actually Tyra Banks. She popularized the term five head because she swears her forehead is like huge. And it, like, she has a big forehead, but she's gorgeous, right? And that isn't like the norm usually, but she used that as her trademark, and that's her thing. And then she's had models on her series throughout the years that have maybe a gap in their teeth, or actually the model Winnie Harlow got her start on Tyra's show, and she has vitiligo, right? So like her skin appearance is different to most people's, and it's like that becomes these models' trademark, and it low-key becomes their superpower. Actually, like that becomes like their superpower, their unique feature that, like, people want to photograph them because they look so uniquely beautiful. So I love that story that you shared, because I think, like, yeah, a lot of models in the past 10, 15 years especially have really kind of honed in on, hey, this feature makes me unique, which is super beautiful in like a totally different way.
Yeah. And so yeah, exactly. Sorry, I had a moment of like, I just get really upset whenever I work with somebody and they have those insecurities and those self-image issues, because like we work with people because we do think they're beautiful, right? And the term, like, it's used way too often, I think, and it's something that maybe is oversaid, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That there's there is somebody out there who does see it as something that's very beautiful, or maybe attractive, or maybe artistic, or creative, or whatever term you want to use to describe it. And I think that's so true in modeling. I think it's so true in how we see ourselves as people. And that's not to say that there won't be people who will try to tear you down for your insecurities, right? There's always going to be that person who will point it out or try to make you pose different. But I think that, and building your own confidence will help you, by practicing. And then if somebody does point it out, you go, you know what, you're right, it's there. And then you pose it anyways. And if it's somebody who keeps pointing it out, well, then they're just not professional, and they're not anybody that anybody should ever work with anyways, I think, personally. But I think that body positivity really comes out in being aware, but also just like, you have to comes with a lane of like caring a little less about how other people see you and how you see you. And I think it comes a little bit more with, see yourself as your mom would see yourself as your siblings would see you. And it's something that's someone who's beautiful, that's somebody who's powerful, who has untapped potential. And I think that when you start saying it that way, it becomes less of an insecurity. And like you were saying, is more like your superpower, or more of it's what makes you you. And if you look, so like models, right? They don't want somebody who is like the poster model who looks like everybody else, right? We want people who are unique, who look different, who feel different, and are excited about that. And so I think that it can become your superpower.
Yeah, I tell people all the time. I actually really like the fact that, some people will tell me things like, oh, like you have kind of like wide set eyes, or like these features that are so interesting. And I'm like, yeah, I love that. Like, I love that I don't look like most other people. I love that I have this unique look. I actually, this left arm, my left, I broke this when I was a kid. And you can see in some of my pictures, it didn't set back correctly. So I actually have like my bone kind of sticks out on my left arm, and you can see that sometimes. And I'll pose it, but it's like I don't ever want to hide these things because they make me Miranda. I wouldn't be Miranda if I didn't have those things. So I think learning how to embrace ourselves, and like I love what Chris said, like see your way your mom or your boyfriend or girlfriend, like somebody who really loves you, your best friend, see yourself the way they see you. Because a really good tip I heard would you ever treat yourself the way, or like would you ever treat others the way you're treating yourself right now? So I put it that way. So would I ever tell somebody else about one of their insecurities super blatantly? Like, no, I would never do that. I would never look at somebody. I probably wouldn't even notice stuff on the person, And I did. I wouldn't just like look at somebody and say, hey, I'm going to pick on you because of this, because we don't do that. So why do we do that to ourselves? I wouldn't treat someone else that way. Why would I treat myself like that? And that really changed the game for me, knowing that like I wouldn't say to somebody else like, hey, look at you, you got a zit, you broke out last night, like, whoa, that sucks. Like, one, probably wouldn't even notice if someone did, and two, would never point that out or like be upset about it. I'd still find that person beautiful. So why do I point it out in myself? Like that was a game changer for me. That kind of blew my mind. It seemed so simple, but when I heard that and started practicing that in life, that really changed the game for me in terms of feeling more confident.
That's a really great point. And even to touch on, like we're talking about the acne bit, if you're insecure about that, that's something too that you remember that it's for a season usually, right? Those things come, and they always happen, like around shoots. If you notice, you're always like, oh man, I had this really big set or this really big shoot today and I broke out. Well, you got to remember, stress can actually cause those kinds of breakouts. And so it probably happened because you were stressed out, which is fine. And it's also okay to say, ask the photographer, hey, can you remove this? Like, can you just use your Photoshop tools to like dampen this a little bit and know that like, oh, they're going to take care of it. So it's not even going to be there. Nobody's going to notice it. Nobody's going to see it. So I can just go on being my normal self. And so you can still use Photoshop, even though like we say you can't Photoshop confidence, right? But you can still use the tool and know that like, hey, they're going to fix this little thing that's, maybe not part of my normal appearance. Like I did a photo shoot with a model and she wrecked on a skateboard or a scooter or something. I think it was a skateboard, and had like scratches all over her knees, like really red, like scratches. And she was like, "Can you Photoshop these out?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "All right," and then just did her thing. Otherwise, she would have just been really comfortable trying to hide it in poses. So
Mhm.
I think that that's another unique perspective, is to say, like, too, it is okay to have insecurities, and if it's something that's not part of your normal appearance and you want the photographer to touch it up, if it helps you feel more confident, go ahead and just ask them and just get the conversation over with right up front.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. And I think too, uh, about things like acne, like you said, it might not last for a long time. And there are actually some things you can do to feel more confident, I think, in your skin, and to just, like, make sure your skin is always really healthy and glowy naturally, that we're actually going to talk about next time, right?
I
Next.
believe it's next time, and we're hoping, fingers crossed, we'll have some special guests for this. But yeah, I think like self care is something that's really important. And I think that self care also really helps with confidence if you know that you're taking care of yourself and your body. And I think self care is also like a bigger conversation to, exercise and like eating healthy. Like whenever I eat junk food like a lot, which happens a lot with me because I stay busy, I also don't feel as good. And when you don't feel good, you don't feel like you look as good. And so I think that like self care can also is a really good tip to build confidence, because you're taking care of your body, and if you're taking care of your body's going to take care of you.
Yeah, 100%. I think one last point to that would be that that's like 100% true. Like when you're taking care of your body and you're eating healthy and you're exercising. But I also saw something the other day that made me feel really good about myself. And like, I think we all need to know is like, if you follow a healthy lifestyle and you ate the same foods some fitness influencer on Instagram ate and did their exact workout routine, your body still will look differently from theirs because we all have different genetics and different things. So it's like, as long as you're taking care of yourself and you feel healthy, even if you look differently than somebody else, like, let it shine through, like, just glow. And yeah, certainly take care of yourself, but know that, like, no matter what, even if you aren't like, this exact number of a size or like whatever, you're beautiful. And as long as, yeah, you're feeling healthy and you feel confident, that's going to glow and shine through no matter what.
Yeah, that is true. And body types is something that we always have to remember, is they're always different, right? There's no routine that's going to work one way for one person as it does somebody else. And it doesn't matter if it's a diet, if it's an exercise, even makeup. Like one makeup might break out somebody else, one makeup might help cover somebody a little differently. So we're all different. So our results are also going to be different, but we should also be proud of, our own, take pride in taking care of our own bodies. And I think one final point, which kind of touches on what we talked about a little bit ago, is practicing. Like it's amazing like how practicing can really increase your confidence, whether you realize it or not. And one tip I always say is like get a mirror, stand it up, or record yourself on your phone. We all have a phone. Even if you don't have a mirror, you have a phone and you can capture your whole body on it. Set it up on a shelf or lean it against a cup or use a tripod like I'm doing right now, and record yourself posing and do that. It's going to feel awkward. It's going to look awkward, but one, you'll not only know how to get like, what poses you look well in and what you like poses you like doing, but you also remember how to get to those poses, right? It's kind of like builds muscle memory. And so you'll feel more confident doing poses and getting into like situations. And if it's all right, I'll even talk about when I was shooting with Miranda recently. I was trying to get her to do a very specific pose, and like the first three times she like fell over and it was very awkward, and I keep showing the photo, and even I got on the ground and like tried to show her, but like we kept working with it and kept working with it, and then it just clicked and she was like, oh, it's just this. And then she was able to do it, and then she knocked it out of the park. So I think that practice is a really important tool that you have, and even if it feels awkward, you'll notice that you will feel a lot more confident, and that's with modeling or anything. If you do a sport, if you've never shot a basketball in your life, you're not going to be confident that you're going to go on that 3 point line and shoot it and make it like on the first try. But if you have shot it 1,000 or 15,000 or 100,000 times, you're going to be like, oh, I can do this shot. And so I think that's also true with modeling and acting and anything talent driven.
Exactly. Because, like you said, you're not going to show up on the court for the first time in a sport or on set for the first time as a model and do something for the first time and do it perfectly. I mean, maybe you're like a prodigy. I don't know. Most of us aren't, right? So, like, you're not going to show up and do it perfectly the first time. So, you do like have to practice and you're going to feel confident. Like, I would be terrified. I think we've all had this nightmare before, probably, right? That you show up like in your dream to like a sporting event and like you have to play, or like you show up to like a test for like a class that you like weren't in the whole semester. Like that's like a nightmare scenario. It's like you never want to show up unprepared. So that is an awesome point. Like practice, 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 because you're going to feel better. It's going to take that anxiety out and then you're going to be confident. You're going to be like, you know, easy peasy. I've done this before. And that's the confidence. That's the key.
Yeah, I agree so much. You will be, honestly, I think a lot of people would be surprised how much of their confidence or like body issues are really like driven also by anxiety. And I think that like building the confidence to go out there and do the thing helps remove the anxiety. And when that anxiety is removed, even just a little bit, will help like your confidence soar.
Yeah, 100%.
So we talked about a lot of exciting things. Few tips, we talked about practice makes perfect. We talked about seeing yourself for who you are and your worth and your value, what you bring to the table, understanding that everybody's different and everybody has flaws, whether you see it or not. And it's okay to be you, and it's good to be confident to be you. Did I miss anything?
No, I think that's it. And then next time we have some skincare tips coming up. So it continues in the confidence series. And we're going to talk about skincare that'll help you feel like you have really, just to have healthy skin, help you feel better about it, make your skin more supple and glowy. Some things I've done in my personal experience, because I struggled with acne a lot as a teen and when I was like younger in college. So yeah, that'll be up next time, in a continuation of our confidence and showing up confidently and just naturally glowy series.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing your tips on skincare. I know that I'm no expert on it, so hopefully you will bring some good tips. And if we have some special guests, I'm sure they'll bring some really great tips. So y'all have to stay tuned to learn with me. And we will be back very soon. As always, this has been Chris with Lights, Camera, and Action. You can find me and the modeling company online at sdsmodelingco.com. If you search SDS Modeling Co. on any platform, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Google, you will find us. So go out there and give us a search. Miranda, tell the people how they can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. I'm at FurPanda, FIRPANDA, FurPanda, because nothing else rhymes with Miranda, as one of my friends once said. So I'm at FurPanda on Instagram and Snapchat. You can also go to my website, and that's mirandamuses.com, all one word, just Miranda Muses, because I write and just muse about things. So you can find me in any of those places.
All righty. Well, that wraps it up for this episode. Again, quick pitch for Breaking Borders. Go online, go to the website, check it out. If you can't find it for whatever reason, that's fine. Send us a message on Instagram or on Facebook, and I'll just send you a direct link. So make it nice and easy for you. If you're interested in modeling, you can go to the website. You can go on Instagram, and we'll send you an application link, all those great things. Look forward to meeting y'all next time. That's it for Lights, Camera, and Action. Bye.